Hey everyone, my name is David and I'm going to show you guys how we use Scott AI on the daily to reduce code slop on our coding agents and allow us to move faster. All right, so quickly jumping in, you'll see that the main interface is meant to be pretty similar to that of a typical chat. You could theoretically just jump straight in and put your query or prompt in. So what we're going to be working with today is the Codex repo. The specific prompt that we're going to be asking about is identifying potential performance bottlenecks in the repo, scoping specifically to Codex RS. You'll notice the first step up here allows you to actually select the repo. Hopefully you guys can see the Finder opening up. We're going to select Codex, and so Codex is like the actual open source GitHub repo for the Codex coding agent. The last thing that I'll call out is that we are in fact running a swarm. A swarm is kind of a new word that Scott has coined. This is how you configure your swarm. A swarm is made up of 2 or more coding agents that run in parallel working on this task for you. So if we come down here, I think I'm going to pick Haiku 4.5 because they just released it and it's really good and fast, and then we'll do 2 GPT or codexes. All right, so now we have our swarm configured. Maybe like a guiding model is that more agents, you get better coverage across the distribution. With different models, you'll get varying results. All right, let's get after it. So we're going to spawn this. If you're curious why we named this Scott, Scott is the name of our coordinating agent. So you'll see Scott responds immediately. Scott is the one that orchestrates all of the coding agents in parallel and then brings them back together to figure out where they diverge and then figure out what the right solution is, right? So we come down here. It looks like, yeah, it's going to launch 3 haikus, 2 codex. That's the right repo. So what we're looking for. Yep. Yes, let's proceed. All right. So now it's kicking off. Scott is going to be looking at the code base just to get a feel and then feeding in some relevant information into the parallel running coding agents. You'll see they have all booted up and they'll be running in parallel. And then we actually surface the terminal so you can see what these agents are doing as they run. They actually run for a decent amount of time because they are crawling the full code base. So we're going to just go ahead and fast forward to when they're done. Okay, nice. So it looks like all of the agents have finished running. We got Codex, nice. Haiku, nice. All right, so they've all ran, and then Scott down here has kind of aggregated the results and compiled everything. And then we get to this section of the chat. This is really where the magic happens of Scott and why you're going to want to use this to create your specs. So what it's done is it's ran all these agents in parallel, and then it's identified the core disagreements across each of them. This is kind of expected to be kind of the most important pieces for you as the driver of the spec evaluate to get to the perfect spec, right? So I went ahead, there's like 10, so I'm not going to go through all of them with you. I went ahead and resolved the first few. We're going to hop down to like the last 3. So if you look at this one, you'll see the first thing you'll notice is like the title of the disagreement, and then we specify which agent said what. So on this one, Codex says you should offload metadata work to detach tasks, and then Claude has a different opinion, right? Just since we're demoing, we're just going to go ahead and pick the first one. Here's another one. How should MCP server set up to be parallelized? Again, we're not going to go into the details, but the point is you can see that these agents have diverged, and you can resolve these yourself. So all right, I'm going to select this, and then just to get through it, we'll select this. Oh, and one more. All right, so we resolved all 10 disagreements, and now Scott is thinking again to like aggregate all of this into a much more consumable form. Okay, nice. So Scott is now done thinking and aggregating all the feedback on the divergences across the agents, and Scott has now put it into a very easy to review spec format that incorporates all of the feedback and decisions. In this format, you can easily comment on anything here to modify anything that you want to change. But really, like the spec is meant to be very portable. So we have this convenient into repo so that you can just throw it into your repo. You can easily copy it to clipboard so that you can just throw it into Claude Code. And then also, like this is meant to be multiplayer, so other people can comment on this. Really, at the end of the day, the goal here is to get to the best spec possible for your team, right? And if you can get to the best spec possible, you're going to spend a lot less time battling coding agents because they're just going to understand exactly what your intent is. All right, great. Thank you.